Hi, everyone. If you're tuning in, you're probably trying, like a lot of us, to really get a handle on artificial intelligence, maybe cut through some of the noise.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of hype out there.
Exactly. And you want to understand what actually matters, quickly and thoroughly. So that's what we're doing today. We're taking a deep dive into something absolutely critical, ethical AI, thinking about how we develop and use this stuff responsibly.
That's right. We've looked at some really interesting sources that get right to the heart of why ethics isn't just like an add-on for AI. It's totally fundamental.
Okay.
So we'll be digging into the amazing potential, yeah, but also looking square on at the risks, the challenges, and how different groups are trying to figure this all out.
So the mission basically is to pull out the key insights on responsible AI.
Pretty much. Highlighting the good, the bad, the tricky bits, and how people are navigating it all, giving you a clearer picture, hopefully.
Okay, great. Let's jump in then. We hear constantly about AI transforming, well, everything. Healthcare, finance. It feels limitless sometimes.
It really does.
Yeah.
And the sources we looked at, they absolutely hammer home this potential. We're talking huge gains in efficiency, accuracy, innovation, especially in areas like healthcare and finance.
Right, like faster diagnoses maybe, or better financial predictions?
Exactly. Quicker diagnoses from analyzing massive data sets, or more precise financial risk assessments that could maybe even prevent instability. These are real things people are working on.
Oh, there's always a but, isn't there? It can't all be smooth sailing.
And that's where the crucial conversation starts. Because these same incredibly powerful tools, they also bring risks, real challenges.
Such as?
We're talking about things like biased outcomes, decisions that aren't fair because the AI learned from biased data, or issues around privacy with all that data being used, and even security vulnerabilities, stuff that could be exploited. So the core idea, really, is that all this amazing innovation has to be built on a solid ethical foundation.
Okay, so when we say ethics or responsibility with AI, what are we really getting at? Why does it matter so much here?
Well, think about how these systems work. They learn from data,
Right.
and then they make decisions based on that data.
Okay.
So the ethical standards we apply or don't apply when we're gathering that data and building the models, that's absolutely crucial. Because bad data or biased assumptions can lead to, real harm.
Like reinforcing inequalities we already have in society.
Exactly that. That's a major concern. If the data reflects existing biases, the AI can actually amplify them. And there's another layer, too. Sometimes these AI systems are like black boxes.
Meaning we don't know how they reach a decision?
Sort of. It can be really complex, opaque. And if you don't understand why an AI made a certain decision about, you say, for a loan or even a medical suggestion, that can really erode trust.
Yeah, I can see that.
So ethical AI is partly about setting clear principles for design and use, making things more transparent, fairer, more accountable.
It feels like a real balancing act, though. Pushing innovation forward versus being, responsible. How do you strike that balance?
That's probably the central challenge. Defining ethical or responsible in this fast-moving AI context isn't simple. There's no single rule book.
Right.
But what we are seeing is organizations, governments, researchers, they're starting to develop ethical frameworks, guidelines.
What kind of things do they include?
Often principles like fairness, avoiding bias, transparency, making AI understandable, accountability, knowing who's responsible, and of course, protecting privacy.
So these frameworks are trying to guide innovation, not stop it.
Exactly. The goal isn't to stifle progress. It's to make sure that as technology advances, it aligns with our fundamental rights and values. It's about, responsible progress.
Okay, that makes sense conceptually, but how does that translate into practice? For the people actually building AI systems, what concrete things can they do?
Yeah, good question. The materials we reviewed highlighted a few key strategies. One big one is designing with inclusivity from the outset.
What does that mean in practice?
It means things like using diverse data sets for training, trying hard to avoid built-in biases, and, really importantly, having diverse teams working on it. Not just tech folks, but maybe ethicists, social scientists, people who bring different perspectives.
Ah, okay. To spot potential issues that maybe an engineer wouldn't think of.
Precisely. Helps catch blind spots early. Another key strategy is striving for transparency in the AI models themselves.
The black box problem again.
Right. So working on open algorithms where possible, or developing what's called explainable AI, or XAI, techniques that help us understand why the AI made a particular recommendation or decision.
So you can trust it more and check it.
Exactly. It builds trust and allows for scrutiny. And the third thing is proactive risk assessment, regularly auditing systems, doing impact assessments to try and identify ethical pitfalls before they cause problems.
It sounds like a continuous process, not a one-and-done checklist.
Definitely not. It has to be ongoing.
And what about the bigger picture? Regulations,
Right.
policies? What role do they play?
Well, we're seeing regulatory bodies globally starting to grapple with this. They're creating guidelines, sometimes actual laws, for ethical AI.
Like GDPR for data privacy, but
Yeah.
maybe AI-specific stuff emerging.
Kind of. GDPR is definitely a relevant precedent for data protection. And now we're seeing specific AI policies starting to take shape in different regions. These regs often provide a baseline, guidance for responsible innovation.
Do they risk stifling things, though? That's always the worry.
It's a valid concern. That's why many argue for what's called collaborative governance,
Meaning?
meaning governments, industry, academics, civil society, everyone needs to be part of the conversation to make sure regulations are smart, flexible, keep pace with the tech, and protect people's rights effectively. It's a group effort.
Okay. It's good to hear this is moving beyond just talk. Are there, like, real-world examples where ethical AI principles are actually being put into action?
Yeah, absolutely. Our sources gave some good examples. In healthcare, for instance, there's work on explainable AI for medical diagnosis.
So the doctor can see why the AI suggests something.
Exactly. It helps them understand the reasoning, integrate it with their own judgment, leading to better, more trusted decisions and outcomes.
That's powerful. Using AI as a tool to augment the expert?
Precisely. Or think about finance. There are AI tools being developed with fairness constraints built in, specifically to try and avoid discrimination in things like credit scoring.
Okay, actively trying to mitigate bias.
Right. And on social platforms, while it's hugely complex, there are ongoing efforts to design content moderation algorithms that detect harmful stuff while trying to minimize bias and be more transparent about how they work.
So these examples show it's not just theoretical, it's practical.
Exactly. They show that ethical AI is becoming a practical necessity. It helps build trust. It enhances the societal benefits. It's not just a nice to have.
So if an organization, a company, wants to really embrace this, what are the best practices? What should they be focusing on?
The sources consistently point to a few key things. One, build cross-functional teams. Get ethicists, lawyers, sociologists working alongside the technologists.
That diverse perspective thing again.
Absolutely crucial. Second,
Yeah.
invest in research. Specifically, research into fairness, accountability, transparency, bias mitigation techniques. We still have a lot to learn.
So dedicating real resources to understanding the problems.
Yes. Third, engage in open dialogue. Talk to users, talk to the public, talk to stakeholders. Be clear about what the AI does, its benefits, its limitations. Build trust through openness.
Communication is key.
Definitely. And finally, implement rigorous auditing. Regular reviews, maybe independent assessments, to check that ethical principles are actually being followed and systems are performing as intended, ethically speaking.
Okay, sounds comprehensive. It also sounds like a lot of ongoing effort. What are the biggest hurdles or challenges still ahead?
Well, one huge challenge mentioned frequently is just the sheer speed of AI development. It's moving incredibly fast.
Faster than our ability to understand the implications, maybe.
That's the risk. Balancing that speed with responsibility is tough. It puts pressure on developers to be really proactive, to think ethically even when the rules haven't caught up yet.
So relying on a culture of responsibility, not just waiting for regulation.
Exactly. And another big challenge is unintended consequences. Even with the best intentions, complex systems can have unforeseen effects. New biases might emerge, or systems might be used in ways we didn't predict.
The known unknowns and the unknown unknowns.
Kind of, yeah. It means we need constant vigilance, continuous monitoring, learning from mistakes, and being ready to adapt our ethical frameworks as the technology and its impact evolves. It's not static.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the main takeaway, the core message about ethical AI?
I think the core message is that ethical AI isn't separate from AI innovation. It's actually the intersection of technological advancement and social responsibility. It's essential for building AI that we actually want, AI that truly benefits us all.
It really comes back to that balance we talked about. The drive to innovate has to be matched with a deep consideration for the impact.
Perfectly put. And the pillars holding up that balance seem to be transparency, accountability, and inclusivity. These need to be foundational principles, not afterthoughts.
This has been really insightful. It underscores that the future of AI isn't just about code. It's about the values, the intentions, the careful thought we put into it. And maybe a final thought for our listeners. Think about the AI systems weaving into our lives right now and the ones coming next. What are their potential long-term ripples? And maybe ask, what responsibility do we have as individuals in nudging these powerful tools towards ethical use beyond just what the law requires? Definitely food for thought.